What's up, guys? Today I have an update video for my Foursevens Preon 2 pen light, and also kind of like a rant video, I suppose you could say. But here we go. You have my Preon 2. I don't know if you guys will notice anything different about it. The pocket clip's gone. I removed the pocket clip myself. Now, a little history, or at least some thought. For me, for a flashlight, as a daily carry and everyday carry flashlight, I require a pocket clip. In my pockets on the right side, I keep a knife clip, and on my left side, I keep a light clip. For two reasons. One, it makes it easier to get to. You don't have to go digging around your pocket to look for it. Flashlights, and they can be kind of long, so it's good to have it clipped to the pocket so that it stays up and then it doesn't like fall sideways in your pocket and just make it uncomfortable to carry in general. In this case, I've been using this light as an everyday light for the past few months, ever since I got it. Originally, I got this light purely as a light that I would bring when I travel, if I want to be like lightweight, or if I don't want like super bulky things to carry. Like my general flashlight that I was carrying was my Cork 123A. And that it is, it's shorter, but it's a lot wider, so it carries in the pocket a lot differently. So after I got this, if you watch my previous videos on this light, you know that I have issues with the tail cap. I feel that one of the weakest points for this light was the tail cap. Other than that, output and runtime was good. Having it start on low and then go through 3 modes, and having the hidden modes was nice. So that's why this light became basically like an everyday carry light for me. Until basically, I guess, around the beginning of July, right back after I got from California and I started driving in my new car. For those of you who don't know, in the beginning of July, I drove cross-country, basically to get my brother's car, which is a Saab 92X. And then, I guess a few weeks after that, one day I was at work and I noticed that the pocket clip on this was like bent outwards, like this. I don't really have the pocket clip anymore. I kind of misplaced it. I did bring it back with me, but I have no idea where I put it in my gear drawers or on my desk or whatever. But basically it bent out. So I was like, that's weird. Like, I'm not really sure what would have snagged it. It's the summer, so there's no, like, there should be nothing in terms of like being on my jacket and stuff that would actually snag the pocket clip out like I've had happen in the past. So I just, I unscrewed it, bent the clip back, and carried on. And then it happened 3 more times, and then eventually I realized that it was actually catching on the edge of the seat on my car. In my old car, I had cloth seats. It was never an issue, and the seatbelt was never in a position where it would snag pocket clips. On this car, because it has leather seats, it has like a strange lip to it, and the seat actually sits a little lower than the old seats. So that's actually what was snagging, and the pocket clip was actually kind of like starting to rip apart the leather on the very edge of the seat on the driver's side door. So yeah, now basically this makes it so that it's no longer an EDC light because of the pocket clip. I could get a replacement clip from Foursevens. I believe they sell on their site for $5. But the problem is it's going to be a recurring issue, and it goes on to what my rant video is. And that is Foursevens. I love them as a company. I think I've never met David Chow in person, but I know someone who has worked with him at shows and stuff. He seems like a pretty cool guy. He makes pretty decent quality products, for a relatively affordable price. And I've owned several Foursevens lights. But one of the weakest points that they've always had with their lights was the pocket clip. Specifically the design. And it always kind of annoyed me because on Candle Power forums, on the Foursevens subsection, I remember they used to have a thread that was stickied where they went over the design thought and process for Foursevens as a company, and the first one that they ever did was about how, good their pocket clip design was. And it always resonated very poorly with me, because one of the first Foursevens light that I actually owned and bought after they kind of, David Chow used to work closely with Phoenix, and they kind of separated and went their separate ways. One of the first lights I bought was actually this light. This is their titanium series. They only had one run of 4 different lights, I believe, for this light, or 4 different styles of this light, and not including tactical and regular, of course. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can't get this light anymore anyway, because they produced it several years ago. They did one run of it. Basically, you had to pre-order it, and then if they manufactured more and there was anything left over, you can get extras. And then they also went ahead and what's it called? They also went ahead and made spare parts in case you wanted to buy spare parts. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to tell. This is a tactical. And normally there would be something else here that was laser engraved, and it's missing in this light. I did pre-order the light, and those who pre-ordered the light basically got the numbered editions of the light. I think mine was like 727 or something. But unfortunately, several months after I got the light, which I loved very much, I lost it. Actually, it wasn't even several months. Maybe it was like 2 months. It was the winter. Maybe 2009, I think, or first semester of school in 2010, might have been my senior year. There was a really bad blizzard, and I was at my friend's place, and by the time I decided it was time to go back to my own dorm room, the snow was basically almost hip deep. And this isn't completely the fault of 4-7, but the light happened to snag on one of the bungee cords on the bottom of my jacket, and I lost light. And like I said, it was blizzarding, so my friend and I, we grabbed a few extra flashlights, kind of went through the area that I walked back and forth in for a good hour or so. But by that time, since it was snowing so heavily, even any of our our tracks in the snow were already covered up, so we never found the light. So essentially, for this, it was supposed to be a great deal. It was around a sub $100 titanium flashlight, the first of its kind, really, because before titanium lights from China became more of a common thing, like it is now. And I lost it. And essentially, for this light, this was made out of spare parts. This is a Lego light, which is why it's not serialized. And essentially, I paid double for this light than I did compared to everyone else. But I did like the light a lot, and I figured, okay, even if I'm paying $200 for the light, it's still not a bad deal. This pocket clip on here is a titanium pocket clip. This is not a standard pocket clip. Those of you who know flashlights may see that this is actually a Gizmo pocket clip. He sells titanium pocket clips for, I believe, $25. I'm not sure if he still does, and this isn't actually fit it perfectly with this light. This light had to actually get another hole drilled in. I believe there was a member on CPF who was doing this as a service, and I got it done very cheap. I think I paid the price of the pocket clip. He didn't even charge for labor. I don't know if he's still doing it or not. I don't really have the thread anymore. But this is a good pocket clip design versus something like this, which is a cork AA light. You can see the difference in the pocket clip and how much it flares out. And that's one of my biggest gripes with 4-7s, is that they always make these pocket clips that flare out a lot. And I mean, you can see here, that comes out way more than any other pocket clip, compared to this. And that's why I feel like with this light, I've never had any issues of anything snagging into here because of how low this lip sits, versus this, where even when it's clipped to the cloth of the pocket, you still have a good 3 to 4 millimeters, I'm guessing, that you can snag onto things. And actually, if you look, 4-7 lights, the pocket clips are not very robust. This isn't my light. This is actually my roommate's light, but I'm just borrowing it. Anyway, I don't know. Can't take it out. Great, now I got grease on my fingers. But you can remove these if you remove this ring. And essentially, underneath here is a thin ring of metal that loops all the way around the light, the body of the light, and then comes down into this clip. And what that means is that as soon as you bend this section here will bend out right away, just because that ring of metal here is very thin. versus something like this where even if something were to snag on this pocket clip, when you bend it, all the force is actually at this flex point here and towards where the threaded screws are. And it's a wide, thicker piece of metal, and it won't break. It holds its spring tension very well. There's very good spring tension here. And, you know, while you may argue that, yeah, that's flared out so it's easier to get into pockets and stuff, I've never had any issues clipping this light to any of my pockets. And that's including BDUs with reinforced pocket seams, specifically for wear from knives and flashlights. Never an issue. And I mean, even here I have a Nightcore EX10. When this light first came out, a lot of people complained that they didn't include a pocket clip. So eventually what they did is they came out with an aftermarket, I suppose you could say, solution, also inspired by Macgizmo. And while, you know, this pocket clip does flare out more than the traditional Macgizmo clip, it still doesn't flare out quite as much. You know, it's probably not the best way of showing you this, but it still doesn't flare out quite as much. And like I said before with the other clip, because of how it distributes the force and the tension when you flex this clip, it's not going to really bend out. You know, I can bend this out really far and it'll spring right back with no issues. Versus this, I don't want to do it because I don't want to break my friend's light, but it's a lot easier to pull out, and you can pull it to the point where it'll keep memory in the steel and it'll set outwards. And then if you were to bend that steel back, it's not going to really help because you're just going to weaken the material and it'll make it easier for the pocket clip to flex out on. So yeah, so like I said, kind of a not really a short rant anymore, but just one of my rants. You know, as much as I love Foursevens, their pocket clips, I really wish they would change the design. It's definitely one of the weakest points on their cork line. Oh, and that's another thing that I'm not sure if it's still the case, but I'm pretty sure it is. But when you went for a 123A cell version of the cork light, the pocket clip was actually attached to the head. And essentially the pocket clip was actually, I believe, in between this polished body and this knurling here. And it would come basically somewhere halfway through this section of knurling. So essentially, you know, you had quite a bit of the light sticking out of your pocket when it was being carried, versus how it is now, where you have, you know, only that much sticking out of pocket. And because this is such a short light, when you have like a third of your flashlight sticking out of the pocket, as soon as it snags on something, it's very easy for this to flip out of your pocket and fall to the ground. Fortunately with the Preon, because of how long it is, even though the pocket clip got snagged and it got completely bent out, it's so long that there's no way for it to flip out of your pocket. So at least I didn't lose the light, which is a good thing. So yeah, hope you guys didn't mind me too much about ranting this. Just like I said, it's a quick update on the Preon P2. Basically no longer an everyday carry light. I still like it. I think it'll probably become a bag light in terms of the 2-cell form. And then I did buy a single cell body for this light. And you know, that if I want to carry a minimalist flashlight, I'll just basically have the 1-cell body on here and then just drop it in pocket. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.